What's interesting to see is, right, we were really at a low here in September of 2024. So it's really coming off of its lows. Yes, it has moved pretty significantly. I guess at this point about 200%, but at its peak just a couple days ago, about 420%, which is crazy to say that you're still so far off the all-time highs, right?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of WagmiTV. We got a great one for you today. We're going to be covering one of the biggest narratives of this cycle, of this bull run, and that is not only AI, but specifically AI agents. Now, this narrative has really caught a lot of fire over the last couple of months, and some of the tokens that are launching and are trading right now are just doing absolute numbers. We had an AI video a couple weeks ago. If you guys missed that one, definitely go back and check it out. But we highlighted a few tokens, one of which was virtuals. One of our biggest wins to date. Congrats to anybody who followed that, and big shout out to Ev for finding that one. The fellas ran that one up. It was awesome, and still looking ultra bullish. So we're going to hop into that one, and then we're going to cover two more projects in the AI agent space, give you everything you need to know, and get you, hopefully multiple X's. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. Proceed at your own risk, but I'll throw it over to Ev to hop into virtuals.
Yeah, appreciate that. And I think what we could do real quick before we hop into the chart is just run through some quick analytics on the Dune dashboards and just kind of show like the type of activity that virtuals is having. So we covered virtuals right around November 15th when I think the price was right around like $0.50. And you were just starting to see this spike in volume between the different pairs on whether it was Aerodrome or on Uniswap. You're really starting to see just like a small spike in these AI agent pairs that were coming off of virtuals. And so that was really kind of what drew our attention initially. And then you can just see like over the last, 2-3 weeks, it has absolutely taken off. So seeing some really, really good numbers out of virtuals. I say, Mata, you want to jump into the chart and we can take a look at the price action?
Yeah, sure thing. Let me share real quick. So yeah, like Kevin and Soam said, I think Evan, you were talking about it on the 15th, right? So I mean, you're looking at 362% if you've held it to date. Obviously, more if you sold it at the top. Everyone knows it's very hard to sell at the top. But as we look at this, right, we're kind of trying to find a couple additional trend lines to help guide where this might be going, ideally in the near term, right? So couple different areas that I want to highlight today. So this top range, obviously it hit these two tops and then came right into it with this latest bull run that was absolutely insane. Then it had this really nice pullback. You can see this could be a bull flag. As you can see, right, you have this big run up, bull flagging down to kind of cool off, and this could be that next run up. The only thing I would be concerned about is essentially right this kind of area right in here. This top to basically the top of this candle to the top of this wick, somewhere in this range, which is about $1.83 to about $1.91, right? So that area we have to be very, very cautious of. What we want to see is for us to break out of that, and then of course confirm above that. The reason that we're a little bit nervous about that, as you can probably see, is this looks a little bit like a double top. So in order to continue on this kind of thesis that this is the bull flag, we want to see this actually pump up, move beyond this trend line, as well as that double top spot. If for some reason it does get rejected, some of the areas that we'd be looking at again are this support line here, this trend line at this point, as well as the local low that we saw at $1.24 as well. So a couple different levels that we're looking at. Of course, we want to see it break above that double top just to confirm on everything. But I mean, a lot of hype has been going around virtuals. So super, super good job on this, Ev.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And let's hop into the actual platform, the virtuals platform real quick. Because really what I want to show you is why virtuals is getting this crazy pump. I think when we were looking at it 2 weeks ago, a lot of these meme coins, maybe I think the top one had like a $50 million market cap. And right here at AI XBT, this is easily the highest one on the platform, and it's got a $270 million market cap. So we're starting to see a ton of these coins take off. And the reason why virtuals is so important with this platform is you need the virtual token to swap into the AI XBT token. And so you're seeing this utility come out of this virtual token to be able to get into these other AI agents on the platform. So that's kind of really why we're seeing a ton of new popularity and attention on that virtuals token. But Sia, do you want to hop into VADER and talk about another one of the tokens on the virtual platform?
Yeah, I love it. Great breakdown of virtuals. I think that's great pointing out why we're seeing some inflows. And one of the reasons is because some of these AI agents actually have real utility and real use cases. And one of those is actually VADER. So we're going to zoom out first and talk about kind of what their longer term strategy is, and then talk about why it's popular at this moment in time. But what's really interesting about this is that rare to see this in crypto. It's a fully doxed team. It's backed by a company called Monetize AI and VADER Research. But it's a fully doxed team, and essentially what they're trying to do is build an AI agent that helps crypto projects figure out a way to incentivize the tokenomics of their projects. So if I open this up, I can show you an example dashboard of what this might look like. So this is an example of an AI agent using VADER, and essentially, a project manager, let's say, they're opening up a new crypto project. They need to figure out, okay, how do we kind of deliver incentives to, make sure that liquidity is being offered correctly and that the tokenomics make sense. They have this kind of dashboard where you can monitor all of that in one spot, and basically, using AI, figure out how are these these independent factors are going to influence the overall tokenomics. So you can kind of start with like, an emission option, whether it's conservative, moderate, aggressive. And this is a very, very basic idea. But the whole way that they're going to make money is based on a project actually using this. They're going to take a percentage of the total supply and basically hold it in a coffer. And so their whole idea is that's how they're going to make money. That's how they're going to generate revenue. So they're actually thinking about, how are they going to make money and how is it going to be a legitimate business? Fully doxed team, doxed set of investors from, VCs like Delphi, which are pretty popular in the crypto space. So that's an exciting piece. The other exciting piece is, in terms of like immediately what they're doing is one of the incentives to hold and stake VADER is getting access to a AI agent that kind of makes like alpha calls. So basically you get like access to an alpha terminal if you stake 100,000 VADER. 45% of the entire token supply is actually staked for the next 3 months. So, that could cause some supply shock. But really, they're building something pretty legitimate here. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But I think it'd be really interesting to take a look at the TA, especially because it's run pretty aggressively lately. And some of that, I think, is due to the supply shock from the staking. But it'd be great to see some of what that looks like. Turn it over to Mata.
Yeah, let me pull it up on the screen here. So as we're looking at VADER, like Sia said, really massive run up. Obviously, that could be a little bit from the supply shock itself. What we're looking at is really a couple different lines here. So I have two trend lines coming from kind of the lows. This orange trend line that's a little bit more bullish, and this bluer trend line, which would essentially be something that we want to catch if we saw a little bit of a bearish move in VADER. So if we focus our eyes on this orange line, what we're essentially seeing is from the lows, we came and tested it, came back, tested it, actually broke down. Once we saw it come back, retest that line, we knew that this was confirmed going to be a breakdown for us. We saw it actually moved about a 50% retrace of that entire move. So this would have been a perfect time to actually dig back in. And now we're seeing it start to move back up. So we are coming right back up into that orange trend line that we were just talking through. So to stay bullish on this, I think similar to virtual, right? We want to see it, of course, not double top here, but we also want to see it really get above and establish confidence above this line as well. If not, right, one thing that we can consider is that this could pull back to this green line, right? This would be the first area that we'd look to potentially make an add to this. And oddly enough, it's basically the 618 retrace as well from this local low to that high if it were to peak up here. So that'd be the first place we would look to potentially put a buy in. Then the next really good support would be down here at about 0.02, so 2 cents. So a couple different levels to look for that. Again, I think we could get really bullish on this. It's going to obviously have to do with the virtual narrative as well as Bitcoin on a lot of these things. If we can see Bitcoin get above 100K, I think, all bets are off in some of these cases, and we can see virtual and VADER and any of the other coins that are associated with virtual really, really run with all the hype that they have around them. So that's what we're looking at. I think there's a lot of reasons to be bullish on it, but of course, want to start to think about areas to potentially acquire this after quite a nice run.
Awesome. Great breakdown, Mata. And yeah, these both of these two tokens, obviously we're super bullish on them. And the AI agent narrative is super interesting because right now you basically have a platform that you can create these AI agents, then you have AI agents being created. The token that I want to talk about a little bit is one that kind of brings in the ownership of AI agents as well as kind of like 3D rendering of AI agents, which is pretty interesting. So tons of different things to explore within kind of the AI agent sphere. The token that I want to talk about is ASTO, which is ASTO is the ticker. It's a project called Altered State Machine, and it's pretty interesting. I'll go through a little bit of their Twitter. It's kind of an OG project, mainly kind of in the gaming space. And what's really interesting is like now they've kind of entered the AI space, and a lot of people don't really know about it. It's flying under the radar. They have a project, like a kind of tangential project associated with the same token and everything, and going to benefit from the ASTO token, is Altered State AI. And so basically what this is going to be is kind of like a text to character creation engine that allows you to basically create AI agents simply by using your imagination and typing in anything you want to type into. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. I'm going to go ahead and share their actual website so you can see, create anything imaginable. You can come down here, you can create 3D models of like basically anything you want using the power of their like AI technology and stuff like that. Lots of really interesting stuff. You can create characters and stuff, so you can see how this AI agent narrative, the gaming narrative, it all kind of is coming to a head and coming to an intersection. So this is a project that I like. I mean, backed by a lot of like the largest investors out there, Coinbase Ventures, things like that. Like as is like all the projects we're talking about today, backed by really solid folks. And obviously you guys can come in. We'll link this down below. You can play around with their website, but tons to be bullish about here. I'll let Mata take it to the chart. It's sitting like, I believe, at around 25 million or so market cap. So still a pretty low cap. I think it definitely has a chance to run. But yeah, I'll throw it to Mata to go through the charts here.
Yeah, happy to dive in. And it was interesting. I feel like whenever we're talking about coins like this, they're very, very short term, right? We're going into the hourly charts or the 4-hour charts. This is a really interesting one. It actually dated back quite a bit. We were able to go into the daily, which the more data that you have, the more confident you can be about some of these levels. So really zooming out here, you can see it is way off of its all-time highs, like way, way off of its all-time highs. What's interesting to see is, right, we were really at a low here in September of 2024. So it's really coming off of its lows. Yes, it has moved pretty significantly. I guess to this point about 200%, but at its peak just a couple days ago, about 420%, which is crazy to say that you're still so far off the all-time highs, right? So a couple things that I'm looking at. Obviously, we have this trend line here. One area of resistance that we ran into that we were talking about with Soham just before this was this area right at about 5 to 6 cents, right in that higher end of the 5 cent range there. We've seen it come back very, very solidly on this, right? So a 26% down day, a 10% down day. So it has obviously had a meteoric rise, and it is falling pretty sharply. But oftentimes this is really what you want to see if you're trying to find levels to get into some of these projects. So the big area that we have is really down here from, it's really, I would say, 2.5 cents to about 3-ish cents, give or take. And that's the area that we would actually be looking to potentially acquire some of this in. What is also interesting is in that range, you also have the 618 Fibonacci retrace, which is a typical retrace that we see often just in nature and in a lot of these charts. So in that area, right, is where you'd be really looking to potentially make a long play for ASTO, right? Of course, you're going to have to, again, break above this resistance line and a couple of these different trend lines. But if you really, really zoom out on something like this, I mean, the upside is pretty great, right? I mean, you've seen this thing at high levels, right? 25 cents, for example. You've seen a high back in February of 2023 around, 13 cents. So you could really, really make some solid moves on this just to get back to some of these previous highs that we've seen. So really, really awesome stuff. It's made a crazy run, and it's interesting to see this pullback here. So something that we're going to keep our eye on as it starts to move into some of these levels that we see.
All right, that'll do it then for today. Obviously, we're super bullish on AI agents. We'd love to hear what you guys think. So make sure to, like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let us know what your thoughts are. There's tons of these projects launching. So if you have any that, you think are interesting and you want us to cover, absolutely comment down below and we'll take a look. But that's it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time here on WagmiTV.